What? What? Is that a leak? What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the OB Fun Club. We got a special episode going down today. 2021 cards are being leaked on the Discord, so I'm here to break it down. We got some icons coming down the pipe, and this episode specifically is dedicated to those cards that haven't had cards in 2020. So if you haven't heard, 2021 is essentially going to be an extension of the 2020 season because we had the short season. So cards with icons, new icons, are going to get brand new cards, but then there's cards who have won icons already or maybe didn't get a card in 2020 that are being newly printed now. So here are 5 cards that have been leaked with icons that didn't have a card in the regular 2020 set. Alright, so first things first, we have a Minnesota Twins starting pitcher, my wife being a Twins fan. This is where I had to start. Got Randy Dobnak. You see he comes with the W icon, +2 clutch, 4 command, and then extra +2 versus lefties. We love that opposite handedness bonus. Makes it really hard to match up against. Got 1x, 23 to 24 double, 25 plus homer, which makes it really hard to get an extra base hit, even with the power die. The reasons why he's so cheap, though, the really light one, easy to dismiss, is the 1 to 16 out. We've seen in 2020 that as command goes up, outs start to come down a little bit. So not a big deal. I personally like this over the low command guys with higher outs because the odds are still better that they're going to get out on your chart versus you getting the advantage and them getting out. But the main thing I would kind of have to address, he's 4 IP. Normally would concern me. This is kind of a new thing in clutch, but it's actually not that bad. I've been using Julio Urias in my current league team, and he's been the only good pitcher, which I will address in another video because that's a whole nother problem. But I think this is actually starting to become a viable build. You get some really on the cheap pitchers that can only go 4 IP. The reason why they're so cheap is because of the 4 innings pitch. Slap 1 or 2 Masters of Efficiency, a 5-inning pitcher that's a very good card is much better than these average guys that are going to cost you about the same, but for 5 innings. While you do have to bank on drawing the Master of Efficiency, cards like Dobnak, which have 25 plus homer, even if he's tired and the opponent gets the power die, they're not hitting a home run without plus cards. So you have that going for you. And I think pairing him with like Urias, as I mentioned before, and Matt Moore, who is also a fantastic 4-inning pitching card, I think there's a legitimate build here just to get to the bullpen. Baseball is all about getting outs. Next up, we have James Karinchak, who is a relief pitcher on Cleveland, clocking in at 305 points. I know your first thought is, yeah, probably 2 IP. Nope. 1 IP. Does come with 6 base command and L+2, which, again, we love that opposite-handedness bonus. Comes with a K icon, 1 to 17 out. People don't single until 20, and the 25 plus homer. The most absurd thing about this card, though, 1 to 12K. You don't even need the K icon at that point, because everything's a strikeout dialed in. Just throw it out the window. That's insane. Obviously, pair him with golden ratio, please. In a scenario, I'm envisioning him, golden ratio, Andrew Bailey, comboed up together. Oh, that's a work of art right there. But it's a really interesting card. I don't necessarily know if I love him, especially if I'm spending 305 on a 1-inning pitcher. I expect him to be of closer quality. And the one thing I don't want out of my closer is negative clutch. There aren't a ton of factoring the clutch into the pitch cards on offense, but at the same time, they do exist. And in an instance where I'm winning the game and I want to win the game now and I don't want to give up a lead, the last thing I want to do is leave any kind of window open for my opponent. And unfortunately, the -1 clutch does that. Outside of that, I'd say he's 305 points worth of card. I don't see myself rostering him at any point, but if you wanted to go K-Icon heavy, or if you're looking at those builds with Andrew Bailey, slapping on Golden Ratio and just drawing cards to your heart content, I think he's an incredible option, and I won't say a must in those builds, but you're gonna be hard pressed to find another pitcher that's gonna be striking out batters as frequently, starters or relievers, than Karinchak. All right, next up we have Luis Robert. An AL Central theme kind of going on here. AL Central was very competitive last year. Fun card. Costs 200. Comes with a Gold Glove icon. Kevin Kiermaier. He's coming for your job. Hands down, the coolest part about this card is the Golden Glove icon with the +4 defense, which is not max for center field. Other than that, he's so cheap because he has the 9 on base, L+1, which is a decent addition so far. All Kevin Kiermaier type things. But where the difference between the two of them is that on Kiermaier, you have the 19 speed. On Robert, you have a fantastic chart. Only 1 to 4 out. Singles at 7, which is super low. And doubles at 17, natural 20 homer. All those are pretty good. I like Robert a lot. I think +4 with the Gold Glove icon obviously is very silly. We laugh at that because you expect someone who wins an award for fielding to have maximum fielding. Yet here we are. But at the end of the day, when it comes to cards like climbing the wall, you're looking at a +6 versus, any regular +5 center fielder trying to use climbing the wall. So he's still better in that regard. And the other reason why I like Robert over Kiermaier is the chart. Singling at 7 is fantastic. And with a low on base guy like Robert, chances are you're sticking him lower in your lineup, which are usually two things. You either want him to be a rally starter and get on base, which probably won't be that. But the other thing you want is people are getting on in front of him. If he singles at 17, more likely than not, you're moving runners around the base paths. And for only 45 points more, I actually like Robert a lot more than I like Kiermaier. Now, part of that is because I'm not in love with speed. That's not necessarily how I build my team. I'd much rather, death by singles, get 20 of them and just knock around. I may have like a ton of runners left on base, but if you get hits, speed doesn't matter. Overall, I think Robert possesses a better overall package than Kiermaier. They are essentially the same player. Kiermaier's going to get you a little more defense, a little more speed, but Robert is by far the superior hitter, and it's not even close. Our first non-AL Central player is Tyler Matzek, reliever from Atlanta, and this is a fun card. I don't normally love multi-inning relievers. Matzek, I don't hate, if that makes you feel any better. Does have the -2 clutch, which I'm not too terribly concerned about. More likely than not, if I'm running a 2-inning pitcher that isn't Seth Lugo, who's very dominant, chances are I'm throwing him in, the 5th, 6th, 7th inning, around there, where clutch isn't always going to come into play. The part I don't love about Matzek is his base command is 3. In situations where, he's only pitching 1 inning, cards like Tarpley, which becomes 6 IP half the time, you can basically pick and choose, and you can slot him in because you see 2, 3 lefties coming up, or people who don't have any lefty bonuses. You can see those coming up and plan around them. If you're pitching a reliever like that for 2 innings, it's much harder to plan that around. You basically have to predict, am I getting this person out? If I do, if I don't, who am I facing down the line this inning? There's a lot more strategy involved. It's something hard to build around. I don't want to face too many righties with Matzek because 3 command for 265 is awful, no matter which way you slice it. It's the opposite of Yusei Kikuchi, which ironically they have the same command versus lefties. Other than that, I think Matsick does offer a lot. His chart is one of the best that we've seen thus far in 2020. 1X, 1 to 9K, that's how you get your K icon, just racking up them Ks. 1 to 17 out, so far, great. 18 walk, cool. 24 to 25 double, elite. 26 plus homer, elite as well. So he's not gonna impede you too much during that second inning. It's just something personally that I feel uncomfortable as a manager, and it's throwing those low command specialty relievers multiple innings. And last but not least, I am so excited about this card because he cannot hit to save his life, but I knew he could field, and boy, if he was getting a Gold Glove, he was getting a card in 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, Evan White. This card is incredible. First off, max defense for 50 points. Yeah, you got me right there. Gold Glove icon on top of that. Art. Cards like Bang Bang, it'll add a +1. You can throw top 10 for free. It makes it 4 for your infield. 12 speed, which is actually pretty good for a first baseman. The 8 on base and not having a natural homer is awful. 1 to 6 out, though, I can live with. He's not a good card. That's a lie. He's not a conventionally good card. Perfect fielding for 50 points. It's insane. We haven't seen a card like this since Martin Maldonado, and I think Evan White actually provides more value at 50 points with perfect defense. With a catcher defense, you're not stealing. People aren't stealing anyway, so it doesn't matter if you have a Gold Glove max guy, because no one's going to steal. However, double play still need to be turned. There are plenty cards that, require an infield defensive check or defensive throw, and Evan White is going to come into factor much more than a Gold Glove catcher would. Either way, not only is he Seattle so close to my heart, but I think he's going to see a lot of rostering, if not as a starter, which I think his value is insane. You pay 50 points for someone who's a perfect defense at first, and you skimp on, a second baseman or third baseman who can absolutely rake, but has terrible defense. Like a Chris Bryant at third base, you can do because you have Evan White. That's going to cost you a total of like $525. So really stoked about this card. So what do you guys think of the new cards? Go ahead and leave a comment below. Let me know what you think about it. Let me know if you like my takes, didn't like them, what you would do differently. And then be sure to subscribe. He's got more leaks coming on the way. There might be a couple 5-icon cards that are pretty solid. So go ahead. Don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching. Go Be Fun Club.